Okay, part two of buying new motorcycle tips. I'm gonna have to be quicker on this. Um, Thing that used to really chafe my hide is a customer would come in and ask about 15 different motorcycles, and the only thing that they would ask is what's the payment? What's payment on that one? What's payment on that one? What's payment on that one? As a salesperson, that tells me the customer has a lack of product knowledge, probably not going to buy, and just there to waste my time, has horrible credit. I can't answer questions like that. As a salesperson, you can't answer questions like that because you don't have all the knowledge from the person of what they're going to buy, the amount, what they're going to put down, the credit level, all that other stuff. And I was told by my manager, don't tell people that. That's finance's job. And I said, I agree, that is right. And um, and normally I'd say, well, let's go into finance and find out, what they're going to charge you. And then the customer would freak out, like they always do, and run out the store. Well, get your information in a row. If you know you have bad credit, then it's hard to come into a motorcycle shop because you need good credit. Here's a little thing. Pull out your smartphone, bring up the calculator. Average loan is 4 years, so 4 times 12 is 48 payments. This is the average motorcycle loan. Say the motorcycle is $12,000. Add in another $2,000 just on fees. Interest $1,500. Accessories $2,000. Extended warranty $500. Now add them all up. $12,000, $2,000, $1,500, $2,000, $500, $18,000. That bargain bike of $12,000 is now $18,000. Divide by 48. That's $375. And that's a general idea. And then you got to consider insurance and tags and taxes. Nobody ever considers any of that. You have to consider that. That's why this video is here, to give you knowledge on that. A salesperson cannot tell you what your payment's going to be. I don't care if they do advertise it. That is a bunch of BS, and they're trying to lure you in. It's the proverbial, you got a hook and you put a $5 bill on it and you throw it out there in front of the customer and you reel them in. That's what that is. You didn't know it. Test rides. Don't expect to test ride without a credit check, license check, and a release form. Don't expect to ride more than 2 motorcycles in a 24-hour period. Don't expect to test ride a motocross or a sport bike ever. If a customer comes in and says, I'm not buying today, but I want a test ride, person's not going to get the test ride. And you're asking why? It's the dealership's job to sell, not to be a test ride station, because they lose money on test rides. You devalue the bike, you lose gas, you tear up equipment, and the liability is through the roof. We had a kid that dumped a Gixxer. He went to 2 towns away, took a 750, popped a wheelie, dumped it, and then the dealership lost, $15,000 total. And so the best time to test ride is at a rally or an event where they have a truck pull up that's got all the motorcycles there. That's your best time to do it. Rallies are probably the best on that. An old customer technique coming in is to be a belligerent idiot. And that's big here in the South, and I don't understand it. It's a mental problem. They'll kick the door in. They'll come in cussing and waving and yelling. give me respect. I am Billy Joe Ray Bob. I am GAWD, God inside this place. And the people with the mental problems think that that's getting them noticed and respected. And they're going to get a better deal. No. I learned as a salesperson, I normally walk away from people like that. I walk over to sales manager and say, hey, I got a belligerent ass behind me. I refuse to deal with people like that. Let's call the cops. First thing I would say. And of course, the manager says, oh, hell no, we're not going to call the cops. Well, why not? He's, being belligerent. I want the cops called. And usually the manager would go out there and they would work their ass off to calm that person down. But I would refuse, and anymore. Why have a belligerent person in there? Hey, let's get the cops in here. I bet he's got a record. I bet he's high on meth. 90% of the time, out of all the people I've talked to, I've sold one. And when you piss me off, I'm not going to fill up your fuel tank. I'm not going to give you t-shirts. I'm not going to give you a hat. And I'm sure not going to get you a better deal. Them kind of people have psychiatric problems, and they need to go make an appointment with Dr. Phil. Okay, for you to take the motorcycle home or on a test ride, bring your helmet, jackets, and gloves. There's so many people that forget that crap. Before you test ride, get familiar with the controls. Different manufacturers have different control setups. Do a couple laps around the parking lot. Do figure eights. That'll really get you going good before you head out. And when you go on a test ride, vary the test ride from highway, city, stop and go, slow speed maneuvers. You want to throw everything in there. What you're trying to do is to see if you and the motorcycle get along really good. Dealers always try to have a route that will, and that usually will take a lot of that kind of stuff away, and usually the route involves right turns only, which is for your safety. If a salesperson has no knowledge about the maintenance schedule, have the mechanic go over it with you. Be honest, a mechanic will know a heck of a lot more than a lot of people will about taking care of your motorcycle and stuff. And that gets you a chance to meet some of the people at the dealership. Credit companies say you must be on the job at least 6 months before applying for a loan. Motorcycle loans are higher interest than car loans. You should not be looking at a motorcycle if you don't have a job, if you just got a job, just had a baby, just bought a house, just got a divorce. All them things don't go near a motorcycle shop. Or if you have bad credit, just stay away. In the finance office, they will flood you with options that only make the price of the motorcycle go up. When I walk into that office, first thing I tell them, and it's up to you. You may want credit loan. I forgot what they call them. They secure your loan, make payments in case you can't make the payments. You may want stuff like that. I don't. And I flat tell them when I get in there, all that's off the table. Don't even mention it. And be, if you want to be that way, tell them firmly, I don't want none of that crap. Get it out of the table. Get it off the table. If you trade in a motorcycle and it needs repairs or it's in a mechanic shop, guess what? That will come out of the trade-in value, and you get to pay for the repairs. Then they'll take your motorcycle, clean it, and sell it for about a 2/3 markup. If you ask a dealership to ship in a motorcycle that they don't have, they'll ask you to do the money up front, and the shipping will cost extra, and usually you're not going to be able to get a good deal out of that. And a lot of dealers would frown and not even do this. We were like that because we got burnt so many times on that. Leave your emotions at the house before going into a dealership. They want you to be all giddy and happy and stuff, that you're spending lots of money and all, and that's leads to impulse buying, and that's psychological stuff. Just be stone-faced when you go in there. Especially women. Especially women. Check your credit score before ever stepping into a dealership. It's easy. When you come in, we used to have guys that would just kick the door in. I'm with the gang, I'm with the club, and zig out to us, and we're tough and mean. Give us a good deal. Never sold any of them guys. They all have bad credit. And it doesn't get you no respect. I don't understand it. Why would you do that? If you're not buying a new motorcycle, then why are you looking? It's a salesperson's job to sell. And I've talked to hundreds and thousands of people that do that. They would go out and buy a new motorcycle in another town, then come over here to our dealership. Why are you here? That's dumb if you just bought another motorcycle. You want to, let's trade it in, let's trade it in. And they know immediately, when you just bought something and you're going to turn around and trade it in, customer's going to get screwed bad. And they would freak out, no. Why are you here? Is it because, do you have a mental problem? Why are you here? And that calls for a bad rapport between the customer and the salesperson. When you're sitting there, he's coming in and whizzing on salespeople. That causes a lot of problems. Really, guys, if you want to look at motorcycles, go to a custom motorcycle show. If you're trading in, you're going to have to get over your idiocy. A trade-in is not a bar of gold. People have this saying where they think that their trade-in is worth a gazillion trillion dollars, and it's not. They will give you about 1/3 of what the true value is of a motorcycle. A deal that never happens is any deal where the dealership does not come out on top. Any deal where you don't walk out owing money will never happen. And they limit the trade-ins to about 2 motorcycles. It's harder to buy a motorcycle than an automobile. Motorcycles are not considered DOT standardized transportation. You'll spend more hours at the dealership finishing up the deal than you will for an auto. Now, standardized transportation is cars and vehicles that will take you to and from work. Motorcycles are not in that. They're considered toys. And that's why the loans are harder to get for that. If that was ever changed, then the loans would be easier to get for motorcycles. But all that was done back in the 70s, and there's been no effort to try to ever fix that. So, a big thing that you people never, ever heard of. If you buy an expensive motorcycle, you may need to look at financing in tags and taxes. I see all these ads to buy at Christmas time, and I think that's a horrible, horrible idea. First you get with the down payment, taxes, tags, and all of this stuff that's going to come up with it, and that takes money away from Christmas. If you don't have no kids or people to buy for, maybe then it would be good. But usually the best time to buy is in the dead of winter, after Christmas. After Christmas, dealerships are dead. We used to get naps at the dealership. Nobody come in. But we had a kid come in once and bought a Gixxer 750, flip-flops, had 5 inches of snow on the ground, and he rode the damn thing home in the freezing ass cold. You see it all. Fast talking salespeople. What their technique is to take away your ability to think and to make good decisions, because they're throwing all these different decisions and scenarios at you, all throwing them at you, and that pisses me off. I'd stick a finger up in their nose. Hey, slow down. Let me think. And if they started back up, stick that nose in their finger, or stick a finger in their nose. I said, slow down, be quiet. When making a deal, send the salesperson back to the sales manager a couple of times with the words, you can do better on price. That is if you haven't sit there and wrote down a solid number that you have researched and think is a great deal. I would prefer that you would do that solid number, because that would stop a lot of this back and forth haggling, which isn't good on anybody, any of the people there. But if you're going to start doing that haggling, try to get it down lower and lower and lower and lower and keep going, you're going to see a lot more dramatics from the sales manager and the salesperson. Oh, you're killing us. We can't pay the bills. I won't be able to pay the employees. And stone-faced. Don't care. I can go out the door. I can go down to the next dealership. But keep them, sending them back. You can do better. You can do better. You can do better. I'm talking about sales techniques. There's one called ABC. Always be closing. Old sales technique. You come in the door, first thing the salesperson says to you, "Hey, glad you come in. I guess you're here to buy a motorcycle." Always be closing. No, I'm here to get parts. Tell the salespeople, and that'll get them monkeys off your back, what you're doing. I just thought I'd kind of loop through, and I was getting some parts over there. But if you say you're going to service, be wary. They're going to jump all over you. Well, you got something broke down. I can get you a new motorcycle or a better used one, and be careful of that part too. Sometimes there's ways to get to service and not go through sales and all. This article took years of in the field experience. Like I said, I have very, very, very different sales techniques. Retail, owned my own business, insurance sales, and other crap like that. The new car, working for the dealerships, was a pain in the ass. When I first started, it was, and I'm like anybody else. When I first started, I used to get hives on my hand because I was so nervous on talking to people. And then I got over it. It's kind of like acting. We have to have salespeople because and this is the dead honest truth. People are too dumb to buy a motorcycle on their own, so we have to have salespeople to put them on it. And that's sad to say, but it's the truth. It's the same in automobile sales too. And you, the people, you don't know this, but you hold the power, and it's through educating yourself. I've had women that were so damn scared of getting in front of a salesperson that they would have a Bible in their hand and run up to you and put the Bible in your face. I say, in the name of Jesus, give me a good deal. Yeah. In the South, you're going to have that a hell of a lot. And there's times you would, that was all fun and games and all, but people yell at salesmen out here, "Give me a better deal." Well, let's sit at my table and see what the sales manager says. "No, I don't want to talk to no damn sales manager. I want a better deal." Well, they've taken that power away from the salespeople. It's all due to the sales manager does all that. And if you're not willing to sit down and see what they can't come up with, you're not going to get screwed until you sign your name to a piece of paper. And if you take your anger and bad attitude out of the system, you're going to get a lot more done. And like I keep saying, the greatest fear of a dealership is an educated customer. You be that person. You get that information. You get your ducks in a row. You get your insurance worked out. You get your loans worked out. Like I said, credit unions have better interest rates, and they're usually easier to get. You people have the power to get better deals. Just use these techniques that I told you here, and keep a backup plan too. If you can't get a good deal through this guy, check with the other guy. There's always somebody down the road. Never get stuck at one dealership. That's the problem. I gave you guys some really good information. It's a ton of information and great education video that I did right here. And I want you guys to go out there and get good deals and get on the bike that you like. I made a mistake, bought a European style bike that immediately broke, and I can't get I'm going to have to fix it myself. And that was my mistake. And I don't want you guys to do mistakes like that. Get a bike that that are dealers around. The Japanese versions have dealers in every town. The European versions don't have dealers. The state of Arkansas has 0 BMW dealerships. Oklahoma, they're hanging on by a thread. And that kind of puts me in a stuck position, but I got a way to handle it. And but you got to consider stuff like that too. But I've gave you guys a lot of good information. Go out and get the bike you like, have a lot of good times with it. Get a driving course. Every dealership has a place that they can recommend you to. And even if you've been riding like 40 years, like me, every time I'm with Go Wing Road Riders, and we do testing and training classes all the time, and it's only for our betterment. And never pass up any good training like that. So anyhow, you guys have a good one, and we will see you on the next video.